So what I'm going to show you guys next is how to create your C channels on top of your universal beam, and also how to insert a box gutter, let's say somewhere over here at the lowest point of the roof. Now first things first, maybe I'll show you how to insert a gutter, and then we'll do the C channels. Now to insert the gutters, simply go to the object library tool, and in search box what you can do is just type gutter, or you can search it in here if you're familiar with the folders. As you can see, the gutters is inside a folder called special construction, or you can just click on the search box and then type gutter. Now I tend to use this one a lot because I think it's quite user friendly compared to some other versions. Now these are basically just the original standard library parts. I mean, if you're looking for something a bit more advanced, yes, it is also available. And I will show you where to download something a bit more advanced next time. Now, I'm just going to click on the Gutter 23 and walk you through on how you can set this up. Now, in the gutter settings, as usual, it gives you properties like what is the measurement of your box gutter, and then what is the shape you would like to use, things like that. Now the first thing you will see here is style and dimensions, and over here it gives you the option like the profile type. Now if I click on this, it gives you the options like half round, K style, or U style. Now for box gutter we will have to choose U style. And down here, basically, as you can see, it's giving you the hangers. So these are the hangers with the downspout hole as well. Now, if you think this is a bit too busy, what you can do is simply turn it off. Later on, you can add the downspout hole manually if you like. So what you need to do next is to go to the manufacturer's website and search for the commercial box cutter sizes. So just to quickly create one, just gonna try using 100, maybe like 120 by 600 or something like that. But again, always go to the manufacturer's website and check on the products and the measurements. Now, the gutter object allows you to create slope as well if you need to, and it also gives you the options whether you would like to have end cap or not to have end cap. Okay, now I'm just going to leave everything as it is, and then after that I'm just going to click on the next page. Now once you turn off the hangers, this will not be available anymore, but if you leave it on, ArchiCAD gives the options to choose which kind of hangers you would like to use. But if you prefer not to use any, you just turn this off. And after that, you click next. Now, downspout hole, again, we turn it off. Otherwise, you can actually um, choose whether you want this to be round or rectangular or corrugated. Now, the reason why I turn it off, it's because if the standard object only gives you one downspout hole, it doesn't give me another one, which I prefer to have that option. So unfortunately, the standard object, I don't think it's giving you that option. So this is why I was just talking about if you want something a bit more advanced, yes, next time I'll show you where to download the object. So for now, I'm just gonna turn this off and not to worry about it. And I'm gonna do that after this, after I've completed the gutter. So what I'm going to do next is to click on the next page, and again when you reach to representation and surfaces, basically it's to do with the line type settings and the 3D off-right surfaces for the material. So currently it's setting at um, metal zinc, which is okay. Okay, and so if you click next again, basically this has to do with the description. So if you don't want to go into further detail, you just stop here, and then of course um, before you hit OK, always make sure you check on the layers and make sure you choose a layer that is suitable for gutters. So from what I can see here, we have something like roof framing, roof general, or roof structural. Perhaps we can use roof general. But of course, you can always create new layers anytime you need to. So for now, I'm just going to use this layer, roof general. Okay. And after that, I'm just going to hit OK. Now I'm just going to try to insert one and see how it looks like. So I'm just going to do a single click here. So this is our box gutter. So maybe I'll just place it on this corner here. Okay, because my roof is pitching down this way, so I need to have a gutter to capture the rainwater. Now one thing I would like to show you is this. If you were to stretch the box gutter, yes, you will go and click on this node, right? Now let me share this with you. These two nodes will give you two different ways of stretching and adjusting the corners. Now if I click on this one here, and in the path palette, if I choose move node, it allows me to change the corner angle to 240 degree or 45 degree or 90 degree or whatever that is. So depending on what you want. Now, unfortunately, I do not want to change the angle for the corner. I just want to stretch the whole thing. So from here, I'm just going to click on this node. And then in the path palette, I'm going to choose the same option, which is the move node. Now, notice that if you click on this node here, it allows you to stretch the entire gutter all the way through. Click. See that? So that's the difference between these two nodes. So you need to try and click on one of them and play with it. Make sure you click on the right spot. Okay. Now, what is the height that my gutter is currently sitting at? I'm not sure, and I can say, oh, I forgot to check. That's fine. So what I'm going to do next is simply jump straight into my section view. And as you can see, this is where my gutter is sitting at. And it's not great because it's cutting into my ceiling. So I'm just going to elevate the gutter by pressing Ctrl D, which is move. And then I'm just going to click on this corner, hold Shift, move it up, and perhaps I'll just snap it to the top of the universal beam. Okay, now by right, you should reserve at least, I would say, 75 or 80 millimeters clearance underneath the box gutter, but I'm just going to worry about that later. Okay, so this is how you create your box gutter. So if I go to 3D, this is how it looks like in 3D. Okay, yes, you can have your box gutter to be a bit deeper if you like. So if that's the case, simply come back to the gutter settings and then go to style and dimension, and you can change this, let's say 150, then it's going to give you that depth. Okay, right, so let's say the box gutter now is done. So what I'm going to do next is to show you how to insert your C channels. Then to do that, again, I'll go back to the top menu here, go options, go complex profiles, and then I'm going to use exactly the same thing to import the steel profile. So I'm going to click this, and then you have the same standard steel profile database. Again, make sure the country code is Australian, and then the geometry is going to be CU shape because it's C channel, so we need to use this one. So once you choose this geometry, as you can see, the picture will change. Okay, now in here, I'm going to pick the size that I want, and I'm going to pay attention to the naming convention. I'm going to go with anything that starts with CC. It's referring to C channel. Let's say I'm going to choose 150 by 75 by 5. Okay, so if this is what you want, all you have to do is to import that profile by clicking on this tab, which is add profile to the project. And now it's done. It's in here. Okay, so after that, I'm just going to hit import. Now to insert that profile, again, I'm going to use the beam tool again. So click on the beam tool and then go into the setting dialog box. And then I will be going to the segment. Remember, under structure, we need to choose this one, complex profile. And then it gives you this option to access the library. So click on this tab and see that CC150 by 75 by 5 is actually here. Okay, so basically ArchiCAD will arrange this in alphabetical order. So my C channel 150 is here, so I'm just going to click. And then remember our roof was set to 2-degree pitch. So the next thing I'm going to do is to go back to the beam category here. And then I'll need to go to positioning. Now remember just now we picked slanted to create the 2-degree pitch. Now for this C channel, it's different. For the C channel, you will want to rotate the axis, which is this one here. Okay, so we're not going to be using the slanted option anymore. Otherwise, it's going to tilt up like the universal beam. So I'm just going to change this, make sure this is 0, or you can simply choose horizontal to turn it off if you need to. And after that, I'm just going to the reference axis and simply type in 2 in here for the axis rotation because it's 2-degree pitch for my roof. And after that, it's done. Now, before you hit OK, again, the last thing you need to do is to check your layer. So if I click on this layer settings, perhaps I'm going to assign the C channel to a layer called maybe like roof general. And then I'm just going to hit OK. Now, I'm going to try to insert one. So to insert one, I'm just going to maybe like start from this corner. Just go click. And then just like your universal beam, it allows you to create the length of your C channel. So I started from this end, and then I'm going to finish this maybe, you know what, I'm just going to extend this all the way to this point here. So keep in mind, right now, I'm holding down my shift key. Okay, and then I'm just gonna hover my cursor along this wall here and then click to finish. Don't worry, I'll show you guys how to trim this off easily. Okay, right, so is my C channel sitting at the right spot, at the right height? I don't know. Let's check it out. So let's go to your section view. You can now going into a section view or elevation view. I mean, I can show you like at least 3 different ways or 4 different ways to get there. So what I like to do is sometimes or most of the time is by clicking on the section marker and then right click and then go open with current view settings, and it will bring me there. Or if you like, you can simply double click on this section view here. It's the same thing. Or if you have created this section view early on, all you have to do is to click on this tab. So 3 different ways. That's actually one more way, but that's okay. Right. So this is my section view here, as you can see, and this is where my C channel is currently sitting at. And again, it's not in the right position. So I'm just gonna click on this and press Ctrl D to move this guy up. Click. And then I'm just gonna make sure I hold Shift when elevating this. Right, and after that, I will need to make sure I do my last click where the intersection is, like this point here. Done. See, this is now perfectly sitting at 2-degree pitch. And of course, I can't just leave it like that. So what you can do here is you can actually move the C channel forward by a little bit. So to do this, just to show you how you can actually use the blue guideline um, to make sure you move things based on this orientation. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hover my cursor because I'm going to move this C channel diagonally. Okay, I need to make sure this point stops somewhere here, but in 2-degree angle. So what you can do here is this. So I'm going to place my cursor along this universal beam because I know this is 2-degree pitch. And then after that, I'm just going to hit Q. So Q is the quick way to call out that little blue circle that always shows up in every 5 seconds where your cursor is. So Q is doing the same thing as well. So once I hit Q, you will see this blue line. So meaning right now, if I press Control D to move this guy, click. See, as I move my cursor away, there's a blue guideline or dash line um, sitting next to my cursor as I move this. And that guideline there is basically referring to the 2-degree. Okay, so again, to do this, I need to make sure that I hold Shift. Okay, hold Shift, and it will lock this down by using the 2-degree. Okay, I'm just gonna maybe stop here. Done. Okay, so now this C channel is looking pretty good here. So the next thing I'm going to do is showing you how to multiply your C channel. Now let's say the spacing between each C channel center to center is going to be, let's say, uh, 700 or 600, depends. So if that's the answer, then what you're going to do here is you need to click on the C channel and then you press Control U to multiply. And again, I'm going to stick with spread. And with the spacing, perhaps I'll use 700 just to try it out. And then I'm going to hit OK. Now, because it's center to center, then you need to make sure you zoom in as close as possible to your C channel. And make sure you place your cursor here so that ArchiCAD will show you the midpoint. So that's the center point of your C channel. And from here, you just go click, and then you just move your cursor all the way to the end, like maybe snap it here, click, done. Okay, so this is looking pretty nice. And if I go to my 3D view, and as you can see, everything is pretty much done. So the benefit of doing everything in as a 3D object is that it will reward you, like regardless where you cut your section, you're gonna have everything done for you. Okay, so if you go back to your plan view, and as you can see, there are adjustments that we need to do here. As usual, if you would like to stretch all these C channels from here all the way to the end here, then what you need to do is you can actually use the marquee, and then all you have to do here is to make sure you create a window selection like this, because currently at least 10% of the C channel has been captured within the marquee selection. So from here, what you need to do is to press Control H to stretch, and then after this, you will need to look for a starting point. Let's say from here, click, and then you move your cursor and hold down the Shift key, and then maybe finish at this point here. Click. So as you can see, everything has been extended just like that. Very easy. So once you've completed that, simply hit Escape to complete that. And again, to trim is actually very easy. But let me share something even better with you. Instead of Control click, what you can also do is this. Let's say I would like to trim all this, and then I would like the trim to start from here. So what I'm going to do now is step 1, select all these C channels, and then step 2, you click on the little X, which is known as the split tool. And after this, all you have to do is to create a split line. Let's say from here, click, and then you will create a split line to the top, and then uh, click again, and after this your cursor will turn into an eyeball. The eyeball basically is asking you, would you like, which side of this element would you like ArchiCAD to keep highlighted? So I think this side here would be ideal. Why? Because of this. See, it's been splitted, and then all I have to do is to hit delete. So it saves me from clicking and selecting on each of the C channels again. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing over here as well. So I'm just going to select all the C channels, and then I'm going to choose the split tool, and then I'm going to create a split line, and then I'm going to keep this portion highlighted like so, and then I hit delete. Okay, now to stretch this, again you can use the marquee and then press Control H, zoom back in, find your first reference point, click, and then you stretch, and then you do your second click to finish. Okay, so once you've finished with everything, you can hit Escape to clear the selection. So again, if I go to my 3D, everything is nicely done. And of course, like I mentioned before, from now on, it doesn't really matter which section I cut through, even like, let's say diagonally, ArchiCAD's gonna show me everything. See that? It's really worth it. This is why when we use ArchiCAD, we will minimize the use of using 2D lines. So that's the reason.